Now, we're well aware that some men really love playing mind games on women. And if you're wondering what mind game is, well, they come in many shades and forms, but always involves one thing, which is sending mixed signals to toy with someone's emotion. So in this video, I will show you, the types of mind games that men like playing on women, so that if you suspect that your partner may be playing one on you, then you can get the drill. All right? Okay? All hope is not lost. But first, I want you to know that the mind games are played for many reasons. And if you understand how and why he's pushing or playing mind games on you, you will be able to, play the player at his own game and come out ahead. Now, here are the three main reasons people use deceitful ploys. The first reason why a man might play games is just to test his woman, her loyalty, her love, her emotional compatibility, understanding, and maybe her intelligence. Secondly, a man may also play his woman when he really wants to obtain something from his woman, and he knows that the only way he can make her consider doing it is by messing with her emotion, which is quite manipulative. These guys are what I call the real players. The real players, or masters of the game, have recognized how vulnerable emotions can make people be, and they're using these shortcomings to their advantage. Now, thirdly, a man may also be playing games simply because he knows it can be fun, and such a man may purposely stir the waters just so that they watch the fish react, because to them, sometimes putting someone off balance can be satisfying. So now that you know this, let me show you, what the red flags are. Number one, if he does make unreasonable or an impossible demand, then he could be playing mind games. And trust me, it normally happens without warning. All of a sudden, he starts making unreasonable or impossible demands for you to accomplish. Like, he might start suggesting and demanding that the two of you visit places or people that he knows that you don't want to visit, or people that you don't want to see. He may start insisting that you watch his favorite TV sports program that he knows that you don't like. He may even start preventing you from doing what you normally would do, maybe not even letting you leave the house. Now, watch it please, my dear girl. Don't overreact, because he might just be testing you. And if he is testing your willpower, your resolve, your flexibility, and most importantly, your strength. Now, if you really want to get into his heart, I believe this is a time to show him how understanding and diplomatic you can be. Believe me when I say that if you pass this one test with some of the reasonable men who are just testing for testing's sake, you will have a very good reason to celebrate, because you would have increased his trust in you, whether or not you realize it. You know why? Because a typical modern woman might fight against it and say he wants to lord over her, when maybe he could just be testing you to see if you're very submissive, or if you're going to be submissive to him. And most importantly, he's testing to see if you're very respectful, or if you respect him enough to listen to what he's got to tell you, or what he's asking you to do. Now, we've got to remember as women that men fear one thing most in relationship, and that's disrespect. So if he senses that you aren't one who can compromise and listen to him, he will freak out. However, make sure that he's not doing these things to suppress you, because there is a thin line where it seems as if it is his way or the highway. If there is a healthy balance where he lets you have your way, then that's fine. Okay? Number two, men play mind games when they suddenly stop calling. So you observe that this guy stops calling after a while. He's playing mind games. And this can be quite frustrating for us women, because if a girl is really interested, she will normally have a strong emotional reaction to this type of psychological warfare. Now, guys, if you're watching this, please don't do this to the woman that you love. Don't do it with a woman that has formed some emotional attachment with you. It can get most girls really worked up with fearful thoughts. We'll start worrying and wondering if you're still interested in us, if you've seen or you're seeing someone else, if you're cheating, if maybe you're in a serious trouble, or even if you're ill. All the period of no contact, we're constantly asking ourselves questions with no answer, because The guy who is supposed to provide the answers is nowhere to be found, is nowhere to be seen. He's not even calling, he's not picking up, he's not answering his calls. It's not really fair. But ladies, don't get panicky when this thing happens. Just look at everything in a different perspective. Think of it this way. Maybe he's trying to see how much you need him or how much you will miss him if he's no longer there. And if this is the case, your behavior can either make things worse or better for you. Maybe he wants to see how interested and how committed you are to him in the relationship and whether or not you are suspicious. My advice is never to panic or overreact. You need to keep your head above the waters. You need to just avoid sending wrong messages. Instead, communicate that he is important to you and that you will be supportive, but you won't be a pushover. Better still, don't even bother contacting, all right? If it's a game that he is playing, he will understand that you're not the type of person to play with. I mean, like, you're not the type of person to play mind games with, and he will get his acts together. That's one way to win at his own game. Like, if he sees that you're not contacting him, you're not trying to figure out what he's doing or why he's not calling. You're just living your life. You're living your baby girl life. You're going out, you're having fun. He will have a rethink. If he actually likes you, he will have a rethink. But if not, you keep going. Do you get that? I think that's one of the major signs of mind games that men really play that is so upsetting. Sometimes they take it overboard, right? Sometimes they really do take it overboard, and when they do that, you have to cut them short ASAP. You have to just call them to their bullshit and then leave it at that. Number 3, is he giving you silent treatment or only talking in monosyllables? Then that's another way men play mind games. It's ridiculous. Like, honestly, most women don't like this thing. Why am I saying most women? I mean, as if some women like it. Women don't like it, period. We enjoy steady conversation with our lovers. So once he starts going monosyllabic on us, we will immediately inquire whether there is a problem or not. And the funny thing is that when these men see that we're affected by his actions, they know they will take it a notch higher, where he will further respond in monosyllables or maybe even beginning to give that silent treatment. Now, if this happens to you, know that he's fully aware that your mind will go spinning off the hook as you start wondering what is going wrong, what you've done wrong. Now listen to me, just relax, don't panic or fall into the temptation of saying something terrible that you might regret afterwards. He's just testing your abilities to endure. So prove that you can endure and don't act needy. Although it's very important to let him know that you love him, and just leave it at that. Honestly, I just think that only insecure boys, not men, play mind games. Then number 4, he becomes inexplicably aggressive. Like, you start to notice that this nice guy that you're used to has now transformed into a violent a stranger or an aggressor. Like, the aggression may not only be directed at you, but also at every other person close to him, thereby creating that atmosphere of fear. I know the situation is not funny, it's not funny at all. However, the purpose of this terrible ploy is not to hurt your feelings or hurt you, but to test your bravery and, tensile strength. He wants to see how much shock you can withstand. Nobody needs a coward as a mate in their relationship. Even though your partner may not want to admit it, most men need to know that you're that someone who can actually stand up to them, not take bullshit, and call them to order at the time that they need it the most. So doing so successfully will prove that you're a strong and fearless woman who doesn't take bullshit. Number 5, when he refuses to give you compliment, then know that he's up to something silly. Like, he's up to some mind games. Because this is one way to get a girl, any girl, to boil. Women love to be complimented, and we don't hide that fact. Actually, I think men love compliments even more than women. But while men are expected to just, keep this desire on a low, women are not going to keep it on a low. Women love to be told how good looking, how pretty, how beautiful, how sexy they are. So after a woman has laboriously made herself up, after buying good wares, she would love to hear her man say that he likes the end results. And this goes for her cooking, her sense of fashion, and even love making skills. Women love those words, those sweet nothings. And what does he do? He acts as if he didn't notice anything new, almost as if she doesn't exist. If this happens to you, you can be assured of the fact that he's watching your frustration build. You may even be tempted to start throwing a tantrum, which would be playing into his hands. All right, he's testing you to find your breaking point. He wants to see how your reaction is. He wants to see what you're going to do if you're normal. After all, it's only human to get the desired acknowledgement, right? But he also wants to see if you can handle it when someone does not give you the expected response to your cooking, your looking good and everything. Pass that test, my sister. Number 6, if he's comparing you with other people, your friend, his sister, your whatever, whosoever he's comparing you with, this is the worst form of all mind games any man can ever play with his woman. You know, by comparing a woman with others in a negative light, that man is using the most destructive means of mind game to put out a woman's shortcomings and faults. We know that our faults are what makes us human. But when a person deliberately forces a significant other to take another look at herself in such a manner like that, he's sending an entirely different and more terrible message altogether. Whether he's actually trying to correct his girlfriend or trying to correct her flaws or faults, or telling her that he can't live with her anymore. The bottom line is that he purposely gets her agitated by implying that he thinks other people are far more better than her. And if this is happening to you in your relationship, listen up, you might want to retaliate by revealing or telling him to prove that those people are not as great as he thinks they are. Or better still, let it be the last time he sees you. That's if you're not married, because that's an emotional abuse. No woman deserves to be compared to anyone or anything. Number 7, if he's flirting with other girls in your presence, that's a way to get you jealous, my sister. Mind gamers know that women are always watching out for, those tendencies towards straying that men normally display even unconsciously. And so what does the mind gamer do? Of course, he's going to send you those signals. Such a guy would flirt and flirt and flirt just to make sure that you get the message that he may be interested in other people more than you. Now, there are 3 reasons why he may be doing this, and I am afraid to say them as, they're not exactly what you're going to want to hear. Number 1, he may be flirting with others in order to evoke that jealousy and make you more interested in him. Okay? Number 2, he could be flirting for the fun now, just to see what your reactions would be like should he, on one bright tempting day, forget his boundaries and actually take things too far with another girl. Number 3, he could also be doing it to send you that unspoken message that he's planning to call it quits with you. And when he does, he will say that it's because he can no longer cope with your possessiveness, okay? Now, if it's the first reason, you just have to show him that you love him, because that's what he really wants for you to demonstrate that you really want him. If it is the second one, just go ahead and call him to other by letting him know that even though he thinks he is having fun now, that there is just a limit to that rubbish that you could stomach. And I bet he will be shocked to find out that the games, and this will definitely make him man up at once. This will also show that you're intelligent, you're understanding, you're caring, you're responsible, and you've got great emotional intelligence, and you're still interested after all. Now, let's pray that it's never for the third reason. If so, there is not much that you can do except examine whether you truly are clingy or possessive, or if it's just an excuse for breaking up. If you're actually being possessive, then you should be ready to do something about that sort of habit, since it's a huge turnoff for most men. Number 8, he's becoming secretive suddenly. You notice that your man is becoming more and more secretive, unlike before. And if your man is engaging in this type of psychological warfare, there are many ways he could go about it, of course. He might just start refusing to answer some of your questions. He might just stop sharing thoughts with you and start preferring to be on his own. He might even start appearing distant and maybe forgetful of certain things about you. These actions are all meant to signify a lack of interest in you. So true mind gamers know that this strategy works like magic if the woman in question is really interested, because her significant lover's withdrawal will definitely cause her to become more interested in him and his affairs. The doubt and the suspicion that he has created in her mind will make her worry, and she would, definitely find a way to find out what's going wrong. So if you see this, just cool down and just let it slide. Okay? To this end, I would like to say that, as with other mind games, purposely creating doubts can definitely allow the mind gamer to find out about how you feel or how his woman would react. Even if she hears something not so great about him, he wants to figure out how she is going to react, or how you are going to react. So if your man is playing these tricks on you, he wants to see for himself whether he can trust you. He wants to know how you react to gossip and hearsay. He's interested to know if you can actually think for yourself and discern the truth by separating the facts from the shaft, all right, of any circulating rumors that you might hear about him. You have to be very discerning. That's why you have to have high emotional intelligence in your relationship to be able to handle some of these things. So if a woman like that hears rumors about her boyfriend or her man out there, she will demand, almost to the point of getting hysteric, that he tells her everything that is troubling or bothering him. And then he will be convinced that she is seriously concerned. But on the contrary, if she does not show, any sign of concern, he will get the message that she doesn't care, which means she's anything but loyal or trustworthy. So be careful how you respond to this type of mind games. Show support without giving away your own secret, because one wrong move and you can just come off as cold or as someone he cannot depend on. Then number 9, has he become so disinterested in sex? Because one weapon women have over men is sex. Men are insatiable. Usually, even hard feelings, arguments, and contempt will not prevent them from wanting to get it on, all right? Once sex is there, he would want to get it on. To them, it's just physical. So when your guy who used to be all over you in the bedroom suddenly develops this inexplicable lack of sexual interest in you, something must be amiss. And so he would expect that you will be worried and you would want to ask him about it. And if you do, it will show that you're pretty much observant and you're interested in suggestions for how to fix the problem. And this will be a big plus for you in his book, because you're interested in him. You love him that much. And if you don't ask, he may just think that you don't care enough to put him or his needs first, okay? So these are some of the ridiculous mind games that some guys play. But the truth is that some guys just take it far. They take it too far. So you just need to know how to call him out on his bullshit. And if he doesn't change, then it just means that he's just a player and he's not really interested. Especially when he takes it too far, often he just gets a kick from playing mind games. Those are very insecure guys. And I don't think that if you love a person, you should play mind games with them. It's not cool. It's not a cool thing to do, honestly. So this goes out to men and women. Please stop playing mind games. If you love someone and you know that they love you too, don't play mind games. It's very childish. It's just old school. Okay? All right then. So thank you so much, guys. If you did like this content, please do well to share, like, subscribe, and I'll see you when I see you. Mwah.